Today I want to show you how I make a swirl cup using CrystaLac products. I was going for a galaxy kind of theme here, but I don't know that it fully ended up as a galaxy, but it's kind of like a stormy sea situation, but I love how it turned out. As always, the first thing you need to do is prep your cup. I used 2 coats of universal white for my base coat, but I actually think this exact cup would look really good on a black base. I used Extreme Protection and the CrystaLac pigments for this project, but you could also use Brite Tone. Let me take you step by step how I made this tumbler. So you can use Brite Tone or you can use Extreme Protection. I like to use Extreme Protection for these cups just because it's a little bit less expensive. I'm going to use the CrystaLac pigments to tint that Extreme Protection, and I'm using condiment cups that I got on Amazon to mix because these have tops and I can put the tops on and save them to use again. So I just squirt a random amount, honestly, into each cup, and I'm going to add blue first. Make sure you shake your pigments up really well before you add them. And you can see when you stir this in, it's like a very, very, very rich blue. You don't want to stir too vigorously, but just stir it so it's combined. The next color I did blue and red because I wanted to make purple. I don't measure these out, I just wing it, quite literally. You can always add other colors, add more whatever to get exactly what you want. But this red and blue made a really dark purple, which is what I was going for. You can see by my fingers that it's also pretty messy, so you may want to wear gloves, but it does come out with soap and water. So I saw this really, really dark purple, and I decided that I wanted this original blue color to be purple as well, but I wanted it to be a little bit lighter. So I started with blue, but to make it purple, I added just a little bit of red. And since I wanted it lighter than the one I already made, I threw in some white to lighten it up. And then again, I just stirred it. And that's kind of the beauty of these pigments, is you can play around till you get the colors that you want. You can just have fun with it. That's what I like most about them. And then the last color that I did was I just took my Extreme Protection and made it white by putting in white pigment. You can see I have the other light purple. I didn't end up using that, but for the last color I used on this cup, I just put in white pigment into the Extreme Protection and stirred it up. I use a combination of silicone stirrers and popsicle sticks, but the silicone ones are nice to be a little less waste. So when you're doing a swirl cup, you're going to start with a thin coat of Extreme Protection, and then you're going to take your popsicle stick and drop down your pigments. I just put them in randomly and sort of spread it all around. Once I'm done with this darker color, I move on to the lighter purple and do the exact same thing. They're gonna move a little bit, but they're not gonna move a lot. So once you get all of your colors on your cup, you're gonna have to help it spread around. So what I do is I get random, like totally random. That's what I like about these cups, is that you keep, like, no two are the same. I just take a straw and blow air on the pigments and the Extreme Protection to spread it around. If you're not liking how it looks, you can always add more to your cup. That's also another thing. It's just kind of takes practice, and you get better the more you do. So as I was making this, I felt like it was too white, so I added a little bit more of the darker pigments. But I want to caution you that you don't want to put too much on your cup, because you don't want it to combine so much that it just looks like one blob of color. So I added a little bit more of the dark, and I used my straw to blow it around until it got pretty close to where I want it, knowing that it will combine a little bit more while it's on the turner. You need to make sure that you give your swirl cups ample drying time. Since this is definitely thicker than I would normally use, I always wait overnight before I do anything else. It's important that you give it extra dry time. Another thing I like to do is I like to put just like a 60-watt light bulb about a foot above this cup. That will help the Brite Tone or Extreme Protection dry a little bit faster, which will minimize how much more it will move when you're done. So if you want it to stay closer to where you had it, that light bulb can help. One thing I didn't get on video is while that was still wet, I took this Chunky Galaxy glitter and I sprinkled it on right after I was done using the straw. After I did the glitter, I continued with coats of Brite Tone. So I did about 4 coats of Brite Tone, maybe 5 on top of this glitter. I didn't end up sanding it, but you could sand and then add a few more coats until you're done. Well, I use the CrystaLac pigments to make these swirls. You could also use mica powders if you have them. For a step-by-step tutorial on how to make a swirl cup with mica powders, join me in the next video.